Hello, good evening, and welcome to Goosebumps HorrorTown. This is part 0 to the event of 26. And this is going to be an interesting video because usually when I do these part 0s, I tend to kind of go back into the backlog of what this book is based off the book and everything like that. But as you can see with this update, it's going to be interesting. But I digress. But let's go ahead and talk about some things I can. First off, if you don't know, this month marks the 30th anniversary to Goosebumps as a whole. This is the official logo that Scholastic has made for the occasion. As you can see, they're using the Slappy World dummy Slappy here, so we kind of get that kind of look there. So you get a good idea with that type of stuff in a sense. And that's particular there. Now then, as far as teasers go, there was only 2 main official ones. The first of which was after the event ended for the 25th, which is the Egg Monsters from Mars. They posted this up. Oh, yes. A new story is coming and we are going to celebrate it. Beware. And of course they show a picture from the iconic Goosebumps TV series with Ira Stein saying, "Viewers beware, you're in for a scare." That might be a hint to what might be coming up, but I digress. It is quite fun indeed to see what comes up here. Now then, there was another thing that got posted. Now this one's a little bit interesting because, well, let me show you. At some point this was posted, which was "Horror is coming. Are you ready?" with a devil emoji. And as you can see, the picture here simply looks and says, "Someone is coming to Horror Town." And a lot of people looked at this and kind of figured what was coming up, because this looked very iconic to something within the TV series, and that might be hinting to what they're going to be doing here. And, well, if you can't figure out exactly this here, let's go ahead and announce it. So, what is Event 26? Well, that is simply that it's called the Goosebumps Horrific Anniversary. And this is, like I said, not based off any book in particular, but the font here is actually based off of the Slappy World series, which is something in kin. And as you'll see in this game, I have a feeling they were kind of going with Slappy World, Slappy Birthday to You. But like I've said before, the Slappy World books was off limits, so they kind of based it off and kind of like not here. So instead, this is its own original take, which is the first time they've done this besides the movie stuff. So it's going to be interesting for me to kind of talk about certain things here. And what I was told is that they're going to be, for when they bring this book back, they're going to be using one of the cover art that was used for It Came From Ohio. If you're curious, this is the one that Jacobus made back in the day, the iconic one. And then this was the newer, revamped one that Brandon did. So you get that kind of version here. Though I think they're going with Jacobus's, I guess because of classic, because Jacobus is good. I don't know. It's weird. Sometimes you use Brandon's, but then sometimes you use Jacobus's. I don't know. It's a really wonky kind of deal thing here. So instead, what I'm going to be doing with this in this video, before we go into talking about what this event is going to be exactly, I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little story about me as a whole. As I mentioned, I grew up with Goosebumps because I literally was born when Goosebumps was created. When the first book, Welcome to Dead House, I was basically born, in a sense. So, yeah, in a weird way, when I was growing up within school, Goosebumps was a thing, but I was kind of too young to kind of pay attention to much of that. I knew it was there, and I still kind of had it in the bookstores, even after Goosebumps was kind of in its null day back in the 2020, in the 2000s. But, needless to say, I always read the books, but I've always been somewhat of a chicken when it comes to stuff like that. I remember reading one particular book, which I think it was The Little Comic Shop of Horror, and I ended up getting a nightmare because of it. I don't know why, but it's just an interesting fact that that's just what my brain did. So, there's that. So, it's interesting too, because normally a lot of people would look at me and not much of a Goosebumps tuber because of the fact that I only cover this game, and yes, that's true, I'm kind of a gamer in a sense, and I try not to limit myself to one particular game, but I am a fan of Goosebumps, and I have been collecting some stuff in the back, book stuff-wise, and I've been getting somewhat of a nice collection, which I'm kind of happy with. Not too big, mind you, but every so often when my someone who goes out every now and then for a job. They come across these bookstores and see if they can actually get these books for cheap. And they came across 3 interesting picks that I actually thought was really cool of them to do. The first one was a Haunted Mask book, which was the limited mask inside, which actually still had it intact and it was in good condition. So that was kind of a cool find that they've seen. Another one they did was the hardcover Scary Light feature, I think the Fright Light feature, which is the book for the camping stuff. I think Ghost Camp, Welcome to Camp Nightmare, and I think Horrors at Camp Jelly Jam, I think at the top of my head for that type of stuff. So there's that. And then the last interesting book find he found was more and more tales that give you goosebumps. And what was interesting about that was one of the books I wanted because of a particular story that, people who've watched my channel pretty much know exactly which story I'm going to be talking about, and because never shut up about this. But there's a potential for them to come, so I'm just gonna zip my mouth, and if they do come, I'll meme about it. But I digress. But yeah, other than that, is as usual normal originals books you come across. Sometimes you might come across the newer books, so yeah, it's nothing too exciting in that front. But when something interesting does come around, it is somewhat of an interesting find indeed. So, how did I get into this game, you might be asking? Well, for the longest time, I've always been a streamer, and I have been a streamer for a while. In fact, you can watch my channel and you see some of the old clips and how I kind of did my stuff. And I was very small, like under 100 people, right? So within that time, I ended up I've been watching Casey Loves Gaming as one of the stuff. And he kind of advertised the new Goosebumps update came out for the Squeezers one. So I said, you know what, let me try something out because I got this new phone and it's able to record video. So why not me just do something? So I did, and that ended up becoming the first video of that type of series. And then I ended up coming across the group itself for a special invite to actually get in contact with the actual team itself. So throughout 2019, I actually was talking to the devs of someone, and in fact, the content manager, not the content manager, but the game designer for the game at the time actually came to me and was talking to me and wanted me to, he's like, hey, maybe if you want to design a game, you can. And I was like, maybe not. Turns out near the end I ended up doing so, but that was in the help someone else in mind. But yeah, it was an interesting idea, fact, and 2020 was when it blew up because that was a fun year. Not only did I get to have my character, my persona, be featured as an NPC in the game, so now it's forever archived in that sense. But the other things too is just like this community has just been fun, and yeah, for the matter, it's hard to believe that you can't even imagine some people who actually have the ability to say that they had themselves put in a game. It's very bizarre, but it's also very fun to see. But that's neither here or there. But besides that, as you know, when it came to 2021, the game was kind of in a null period, and due to legal stuff, and yeah, it seemed like the game was probably never going to come back after the whole Halloween thing happened, and I think it was a mismanagement of everything. But it seems like their other project, which was her Oasis, didn't kind of fall through. I had a feeling they kind of dropped HorrorTown because of this whole thing, and they had this new game, so they were like, alright, let's focus on this new game. But unfortunately, a year passed, and it didn't really pick up, so they simply just dubbed it a dead game, and kind of moved on from there, which is a shame, because they put a lot of effort to it, but hey, it's said with the business, sometimes it happens. But with these mobile games, they usually support it for like 1 year, just to see what happens, and then afterwards, it's kind of like, whatever, alright, whatever, it happens. But, through the death of that game brought this game to life, which is a very weird to say, but that's what happened. So it was still getting activity despite the fact the game was considered to be dead, quote unquote. So they decided to do a test, and they wanted to see this game go through, and it still is. Underground Archive being alive, it may have not been as popular, as productive as it once was before, but hey, they've decided to make a small team for it and small stuff, and because of it, I ended up getting some small price for it. So we're getting updates, maybe not a whole lot, but hey, we're getting updates regardless, and yeah, it's fun because of the fact with my game and my commentary, because I was mainly focusing on this game, and then I was kind of worried about it back in 2020, thinking like, oh, what happens if this game goes under? What would I do? And sure enough, it did. So I ended up picking up other games, some stuff from Pixowl and the other stuff here, and I'm still kind of growing from this time. And yeah, it's kind of fun to me to kind of explain this and be an all content creative sorts, and kind of watch myself and see how fun I had and kind of the memes I kind of bring up to it and use my creativity, as it were. I do miss streaming though, I will say that, but the fact of the matter is, I think the fact that you know, I'm coming back to streaming and everything like that, so this game and anything, it kind of helped me give me an audience, give me a voice in a sense, so it's always fun, and I'm glad to see you guys kind of watch it for the sake of that matter. So that's a little touching thing, rambling stuff, just to kind of keep you entertained with this video length, because really there's not much else to say, because they didn't get an email sent out for this update, unfortunately, and I feel like it was because their content manager is not really there anymore, so they have to get a new one, and you know, all that stuff and more. But anyways, I will show you this, which is the pop-up here, so let me read to you what it says here. It's the 30th anniversary of HorrorTown, and the town has prepared some surprises for the townsfolk. Starting with a special guest, a mysterious writer that that will compile all the spooky stories that happened in town so far. But something seems amiss, and Curly thinks he looks familiar. Join the spooky celebration. New content, story, 8 new event narratives. So that's a lot more than what we did last time, so that's great. Character. Meet the mysterious Eric Avaby, a writer that appears out of nowhere, but seems to know more than he lets on. Interesting name. Monster. Let stories and candies fly in the search of their prey. Item. Craft recipes like the Wicked Werewolf, Balanced Breakfast, and the Alien Attack. Decorations. Haunt your town with the dragon statue, cursed books, and anniversary balloons. Animation. Eric will take notes, create nightmares, and release some monsters. Complete the event and collect creepy rewards. So yeah, as you can probably mention, there was a whole lot of stuff there, but the first one is that of Eric Avaby. So this is the mysterious character in mind. And yeah, not much has changed as far as the look of this character goes, but yeah, there he is. Here he is in his glory, in his silhouette. And it's funny because the silhouette pretty much... I love how these silhouettes kind of give away what they are. You don't have to say anything. You look at them and go, I know what this is, exactly. But they mention some monsters, so there's 2 of them. The one main monster is this character here. And he seems to be, I think, a cake golem. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he looks like in the game. You'll probably see for yourself. And the other one is these weird books. As you can pretty much tell, it's kind of like what you will see from the Super Mario 64. So you probably know what they look like because they have that kind of style to them. And there you go. But yeah, that's about it. There's not much else to say with this part 0. It's kind of interesting that this has to be here anyways. But yeah, it's something. It's better than nothing, I guess. But yeah, let me know what you think down below. And yeah, it's interesting to reminisce about this whole series and see where it goes. But it's not over yet. It's not over yet. We still got this video, so hopefully you enjoy what is to come, as I am here. So I'm Grim, and I'll be seeing you next time for what comes up in part 1. Until then, man, imagine 30 years. 30 years of this stuff. Now, a lot of things can't, you know, say they've been around for 30 years.